Ratchet Jasmine Crockett gave up anesthesiology for woke stupidity. Ayanna Pressley visited an ICE facility dressed like Temu Cowboy Carter, and Walmarts have been forced to lock down their meat due to thieving thugs. It's once again time for my losers of the week. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the show on YouTube at Tomi Lahren is Fearless. The show starts now. Here we are again, folks, the end of another week, the last full week of April, and chocked full of losers who deserve their recognition. First up is a repeat favorite on this list, Ratchet Jasmine Crockett. Now, she's become somewhat of a celebrity in the Democrat Party for no reason other than her big fat mouth that says big dumb things. So naturally, she was asked to join another loudmouth fool, Jimmy Kimmel, on his failing late night show. Fun fact, Jasmine didn't always want to be a loudmouth politician. She actually wanted to be a loudmouth doctor. In an interview with Jimmy Kimmel, she said, I actually wanted to be an anesthesiologist, so I've always been really good at math and science, but I didn't want to talk to people. Kimmel then said, you wanted to put people to sleep, and now you're kind of doing the opposite thing now. Crockett responded with, yes, I want them to be woke now. Imagine that. You know, as rough as it is for Texans to be represented by that, I can't imagine if she were a doctor tasked with life and death. Oh, the thought. But Crockett wasn't the only Democrat vying for the spotlight this week. They are mighty thirsty. You had the idiots that wasted your tax dollars on a trip to El Salvador. And most recently, these three goons who went on a taxpayer-funded trip to Louisiana to an ICE facility to check on their constituents who are actually not their constituents because they are not citizens. But I think the best thing to come out of that little excursion was the group photo that you see there. If that isn't the most bizarre and haphazard Mly Crew you've ever seen, it's got to be close. Starting from left to right, you have a pudgy-wudgy dork, then a Cowboy Carter wannabe, and then a man who looks like he's vying to be Joe Biden's understudy and or an extra for the nursing home movie Cocoon. I mean, good Lord, if that's the army illegals and non-citizens have fighting for them, maybe they really should just consider self-deporting right now. But speaking of out-of-control thugs that should be behind bars, not even meat is safe at Walmart anymore, as evidenced by this TikTok video that has amassed millions of views.
Baby, this one you know is bad. When they put men in your gate so you don't steal, baby, they meats. Oh, girl, this got to be bad, Lord Jesus. Help our people, Lord.
Lord, please help our people. Meat is now locked down in some Walmart stores due to rampant theft. It's hard to tell from that footage, but something tells me the impossible plant-based meat is allowed to sit freely on the shelf because it's so gross. Not only is it not a desired theft item, it's not desired at all. But given meat has been caged off and detained, I'd expect a Democrat congressional delegation Walmart field trip any day now. And those are my losers of the week. Joining me now is media strategist Jillian Anderson. All right, I don't even know where to begin. Do we begin with the caged-off Walmart meat? The Cowboy Carter wannabe that's going to fight for the non-citizen Hamas supporters, or Jasmine Crockett, who apparently wanted to originally be a doctor, but she didn't like to talk to people. I don't know where to start, so I'll let you pick.
Well, let's start with Jasmine Crockett. I mean, let's just thank the good Lord that she's not a doctor, because we can easily vote her out, but God forbid she would be behind those patients. Maybe hundreds of thousands of patients would have to have her, trusting her in her care, and I don't trust her with anything, but let's just keep her running her mouth. I think the more she talks, the more we realize how disjointed the Democrat Party is, and if her and AOC and Bernie Sanders want to be the spokespersons for the Democrats, they're just ensuring a win for us in the 2026 midterm election. So keep it going. I mean, as far as visiting the ICE facility, again, this was a huge issue in the 2024 election cycle. And these Democrats hate Trump so much that they actually don't care about the wants and the needs of their own citizens, that they're going to go to ICE facilities. They're going to use taxpayer dollars to go and fight for El Salvadorian inmates and not actually care about the people of their own own citizens, their own actual voting, tax-paying citizens. Those are their constituents, to your point. I mean, they are so out of whack, but let them do it. It's just paving the way for the Republicans to win the 2026 elections. And I just want to point out, I don't think they've thought this through, that Maryland kind of becomes a very good magnet for MS-13 gang members that they know they're going to be protected just as good as that meat at Walmart, I might add.
Yeah. That was a clever idea, by the way. All of it is just so dumb to me that they're fighting for these people. And I think they think they've got a coalition or an army behind them of American people who are just demanding that non-citizens and illegal aliens be given whatever due process, they're looking for. I'm still perplexed about this due process thing, because to my knowledge, they've been in front of several immigration judges. So what really it sounds like is they want to be on a 5-year queue and be allowed to stay here while their case is being adjudicated for the umpteenth time. Actually, Jesse Waters said something on The Five the other day that I thought was really interesting. These people that came to our country illegally, they skipped the line, right? They wanted to come right in, live in our country. But now they want to be put in the line, and they want to wait for their cases to be adjudicated. So it's interesting. They wanted to skip the line to come in, but then going out, they want to stay in the line for as long as possible. And it doesn't work that way. Hold the line to the Trump administration. Hold the line. Never, ever give these liberals an inch. We know what they've done to our country. Let millions in. They will do it again as soon as they get the opportunity. Strike while the iron's hot, get these people out. Next thing I want to talk about, though, is something that I find very interesting, and it's this baby bonus that the Trump administration is kind of contemplating, whether they want to provide a $5,000 bonus of sorts to mothers who deliver children, because we have birth rates that are decreasing. So it's something they're concerned about. I want to get into the merits of that, but first I want to take a listen to the dumbest show on television, The View, and what Sunny Hostin thinks this is all about.
Because when I look at something like this, these proposals, I want to know why, and I want to know who's making them. And so when I looked into that, they're saying that the U.S. birth rate is declining. However, in 2024, there was a 1% increase in U.S. births. But that increase was with Hispanic mothers and Asian mothers. So they don't seem to be concerned about that increase. They seem to be more concerned about a decrease in other populations.
Say it.
No, I think I said enough.
It's not based on that.
And so, well, it's just based on a study. And so the other thing
but
I will.
Have they said that anywhere? I mean, I feel like you have to be fair.
It's just fair to hope. It's just a.
Have they said that this is to target only white families?
Oh, I didn't say that.
You have to read between the lines.
Oh, they're reading between the lines. I'm actually shocked any of them can read at all. But what do you think about this? They're saying, hey, Trump just wants white people to have babies. And so we must not have this baby bonus. What do you think of their between the lines reading?
Well, let's get real, Tommy. If Trump developed a cure for cancer, she would find it to be racist. But really, the only thing racist here is her not wanting more white babies. In no way is this targeting white babies. And you know that. Anyone with common sense who's not watching The View knows that. And I talk to parents other times. I'm a parent myself. The number one reason for people to not have more kids is their financial burden that more kids bring on them. So good on Trump for fighting for life and giving these bonuses out. And I would love a bonus. I would love a postpartum bonus too while we're at it. Go ahead and cover that gym membership I need. I mean, I love it. But to leave it to anyone that watches The View, just think that Trump is absolutely racist by giving people rewards for their children.
Yeah, it's bizarre. They want money for Planned Parenthood to kill babies, but they don't want money for mothers. Now, listen. This is a good idea in theory because it helps you alleviate a little bit of the burden for new mothers, which, obviously to your point is a financial hurdle, and babies are expensive, I would assume. But I have questions. This seems like it could go wrong very quickly if people are getting money to have babies. Now, we want stable parents, and we want, hopefully a two-parent household. We want more children to be brought up in a great environment. But I could see this going wrong, whereas people are like, oh, I just can get knocked up and I can get 5K. People that maybe shouldn't be parents, maybe people who are not going to be great parents. I'm a little worried that this could go like in a wrong way here, and I'm wondering if you see some potential risks.
I mean, everything can go, everything can be taken in the wrong way. But I think that it's important to recognize that in last year, nearly 100% of our population growth was purely due on immigration. And we do need to find ways to help Americans grow their families, encourage growing their families. And I think there's a cultural problem. One, we removed God out of nearly all of our schools, out of our culture, and we are disassembling the family unit. And we are not encouraging people to have children. People do not discuss enough how amazing it is to be a mom, to give birth, to carry them. As much as I joke about it, it's amazing to have kids and to grow families. And if people started talking about that in a positive way instead of parading around the streets that they should actually just kill their children, let's create an environment where families are welcome. And if this is temporary solution doesn't fit, I think there's some other more longer term solutions that if you do have bigger families, I think there should be incentives like limited property tax, limited caps on your on car costs for on your interest rates and interest rates in your house. I think there are long-term solutions we could help alleviate the pain for families that do want to grow stronger. But as far as the culture of the family, I think we do need to put God back into things to reestablish homes and reestablish families. Right now, we have more than 18 million fatherless kids, to your point, Tomi, in America right now. That's our cultural problem. We're the #1 nation for fatherless children. And I think God being back into our society is the #1 factor in that. And we'll change the policies and we'll vote for people to vote for policies to keep family units together. To your point, that will solve a lot of problems.
I like the idea of better parenting and stronger family units. I think that is the core of a lot of it. I do have a couple concerns here, though. So we know Elon Musk is a big fan of like just having as many babies as possible. I'm not so sure that though is the message we should be sending, that you should just impregnate a bunch of women and then just pay them off, and that's just the solution, is just more babies, just in general, just more babies. I think more families. I think that's what's important. More stable family units. I think that really is the answer here. Not just, hey, go just have babies willy-nilly. Also important to note that when we talk about the decreasing birth rates, they also say that a little bit of that also has to do with a decrease in teen pregnancies, which I think is a positive thing. If we're having fewer teen pregnancies, that's not necessarily a bad thing, folks. So I understand the need for more families, and we want to take a look at the birth rates because it's an economic issue as well. But I just think we got to look at the whole issue before we start handing out cash. We've been handing out a lot of cash. We need to start saving some money. So that's my perspective on that one. But here's a perspective on what the administration is doing that I'm all for, and that's removing the dyes from the food. I want to play a clip of Marty McCary, a friend of this show, talking about some of the dyes in the food and possible alternatives. Let's take a listen.
For companies that are currently using petroleum-based red dye, try watermelon juice. Or beet juice. For companies currently combining petroleum-based yellow chemical and red dyes together, try carrot juice.
I love what he did there because he actually showed an alternative. And I think most people would prefer those things, to the other things that they can't even pronounce. How important do you think that this is? And do you think it's going to make a real difference?
This is largely important. This is one of the main issues that push the MAHA movement. And I think the MAHA movement kind of reaches both sides of the aisle because every good parent cares about their children. And I, take it from me, someone who is buying formula from overseas because the formula here stinks, who's researching the packets of every single vaccine they want to plug into my children, who's looking at all the packages of the food. It's absolutely exhausting trying to protect your kids from the world these days. And it will bring us a lot of relief. I know, not my children that I know of, but like my nieces, my nephews, even my friends' kids have a lot of problems with dyes. And toddlers are hard work, Tomi. And then you throw in a few attitude problem because you gave them some red M&Ms. I mean, you're dealing with a really bad day, a really bad afternoon, and a lot of extra coffee. So this is going to alleviate a lot of problems for a lot of people. And parents everywhere should be excited on both sides of the aisle. I think that we support RFK and all the moms who really push for this.
Yeah, it just seems like a no-brainer, really. It might cost a little bit more, but again, kind of the same thing with the tariffs. Like if you have to pay a little bit more for something that's of quality, that's made in the US, I think most people would do that. Now, there are some people that are going to be cost limited just in general, that would love to buy natural products, they can't afford it. That would love to buy things made in the USA, they can't afford it. Completely understand that. But hopefully if we start making more things here, rising tide rises all boats, right? So I think there's a good place to start. Curious what your thoughts are on, I don't know if you've heard about the Supreme Court case that's being heard actually this week, maybe even as we speak still, about these LGBTQ gay books that are being not only available to children as young as kindergarten, but not only available, but read to children about gay stuff. Everybody in the Supreme Court, at least in the hearings, were concerned about some of these books, except for Justice Jackson. She's got a unique take. Take a listen.
And I guess I'm struggling to see how it burdens a parent's religious exercise if the school teaches something that the parent disagrees with. You have a choice. You don't have to send your kid to that school. You can put them in another situation.
Oh, so you could just, if your teachers that you pay their salaries for, if your teachers are reading about gay stuff to your kid, you can just take them to another school and hope that that school doesn't read gay stuff to your kid. What do you think about that?
What's funny is it's the same person that would vote against school choice, and you know it, right? I mean, she obviously doesn't have, she doesn't live in an actual situation, like a society where kids don't have the access to other schools. I work, Tomi, with very, very low income kids who cannot afford to go to other schools, who don't have the option to go to a private school, who don't have the means to go across town to their school, even if school choice was an option. So she is very ignorant with her response. And also, it's quite disgusting. This is another issue that the majority of parents, regardless of party affiliation, do not agree with. I don't need anyone, no blue-haired teacher telling my kids what sex is and how you should be having sex with same-gender people. That's disgusting. That's demonic. It shouldn't even be a topic of conversation. And it's not surprising to me that this is Joe Biden's pick. I mean, this is talking about the same person who can't define a woman, but wants to argue for gay books in schools. It doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense, but neither did the entire presidency.
Yeah, it's so dumb though. But what I can't figure out is they're really trying to rationalize this, that students need to learn about gay crap. They need to learn about gay stuff because they couldn't possibly make it in the world if they don't learn about a boy marrying a boy or a boy turning into a girl. You must learn about this stuff or you will not be prepared for the real world. Flip on the television, plenty of gay education on it, okay? You don't need to be learning this stuff in school. Meanwhile, you've got kids who are not learning basic civics. They're not learning basic finance. I mean, how many kids graduate high school knowing what insurance is, knowing how to balance a budget, knowing about taxes and property taxes? And they don't. They have no clue. And they're not being taught. But they think that it's important that they learn about gay stuff. I'm not sure how they rationalize that or if that's a needed part of education in general. Why do you think they're pushing this so hard?
I have no idea why they're going for the culture issues. To your point, there's someone right now who graduated high school with honors, who's now suing her school district because she can't read. Those same students that I talked about that I work with, they're 3-4 years behind reading and math. So why are they learning about gay stuff? Why should they have to be subjected to those things? It is morally corruptive and it absolutely inappropriate. I don't know what they're winning, but then again, I cannot figure out the agenda of the left. Whether it comes to MS-13, when it comes to gay education, when it comes to any of these issues that are so fringe left, and they are championing it. I mean, they are really leading the playbook for how to lose the next election. I don't understand it, Tomi, because again, most parents absolutely disagree with it. And her response to this, to move them to another school, is just not an option for most people across America. And again, she wouldn't vote for school choice herself. So what a stupid opinion she even brought to the table.
And also, it's the same type of people who think that women or girls who don't want to share their locker room with a man, they should just find somewhere else to change. It's like, yeah, the burden is on you. If you don't want to look at a ding-a-ling in the girls' locker room, you find somewhere else. That's a you problem. No, it's not an us problem. It's a you problem. If you woke up and you thought you were a woman today, that's not my problem. That's your problem. And I shouldn't be expected to accommodate your mental illness. And that's just, I mean, we got to stop tiptoeing around this subject. We got to stop trying to be politically correct about it, because every time we try to, oh, it's a biological man and it's a, no. It's a man. It's a man or it's a boy. None of this more like biological trans, no. No more. This is what it is. Let's just speak the truth and maybe we'll get somewhere. I don't know how old your children are or if they're into Minecraft, but I got to take, your opinion on this. I don't even know what Minecraft is really. I think that's something that I think nerds play. I think it's like a Dungeons and Dragons type thing, a Pokemon. I don't know. Maybe they're all the same thing. But there's a movie out, and apparently there's like a chicken jockey thing, which I also have no idea what that is. But apparently teens are destroying movie theaters, as you can see in this footage there. Have you been read into this? Do you know what this is about? And if you do, please let me know, because I'm perplexed.
So my kids are only 1 and 2. They're not into Minecraft. I hope to God they're never going to be into Minecraft. To your point, I always thought it was something that nerds play. And I hope to God I'm not raising 2 nerds. I'm also not raising 2 kids to act like that in a movie theater, because those people who get paid minimum wage that work there do not need to be cleaning up those messes. If I was cops in that town, I would shut down that movie theater and require every one of those morons to pick up every single piece of popcorn themselves, for just destroying those properties. I would have cops in the movie theaters of all those things sitting in the back just ready to lock them in and say, clean up your mess.
Yeah, it's an entitlement that these kids have, that they can just destroy things. And it's not just this generation. I mean, listen, kids do that. They do the food fights, they do the whatever. But the fact that, some parents are saying like, oh, just let my kids do this. It's like, no. You are in charge of your own children. This is another thing. I actually asked, going back to this baby bonus thing, I actually asked on my ex Twitter yesterday, like, if you're 25 plus and you haven't had a baby, what are your reasons for it? And a lot of it was like, I haven't found the right man. Understandable. There's a shortage. But a lot of people were like, hey, listen, I'm around other people's kids and it doesn't look appealing to me. And this is part of the reason why. And it's because parents have failed. Parents have failed. They have failed to police their children. They have failed to teach their children manners, basic decency. You don't grow up being a feral beast. Your parents teach you the rules of the road, right? How to be polite and well-mannered. I'm sure you're doing that with your very young children. But I think that we've got a problem here of parents not knowing how to be parents. And maybe that should also be a course in school. Do you think that there's a solution to this in sight anywhere?
You're absolutely right. Parents need to be parents, and go back to the fatherless point and the broken families point that we brought up earlier. We have over 18 million kids in America without dads disciplining these kids and whipping their butts. That's a lot of these kids, doing the crime in the streets that are dropping out of schools. That's a lot of these fatherless little boys and girls. We need that whole family unit. And it says in the Bible, Tomi, that if you spare the rod, you do not love your child. Discipline is absolutely essential into creating a structured child that respects authority. And that's something that is very important in my household, and it needs to be important in every household. I'm not against spanking your kids, because when they need spanked, they should get spanked, because that's how you create discipline in your house and in the world. These are a lot of soft parenting things. Don't actually keep your kids out of prison. They don't actually make good kids. But going back again to a different point you mentioned, sometimes kids do not look appetizing to other people. I was the president and the founder of I'm Never Having Kids Club, and here I am, 35, with 2 new young babies. I will say to people questioning that, you have a lot more grace for your own children.
What do you
and
do?
They are joys, even though they are wild.
Yeah, so here's my question, as someone who's 32 and has no children. My question for you is this. I thought about this a lot. I thought about like, hey, listen, my kid would be I would be very structured with my child, the same way I'm structured with my dogs. So they would grow up, they'd be well-mannered and polite. That's how I was raised. I would assume that I would pass that on. But what do you do about other people's kids that are playing with your kids, giving them bad habits? They want to come to your house. They want to be feral. That seems like a real problem for me. It actually gives me nightmares because you got to deal with other people's kids, even if your kids are not poorly mannered. What do you do about that?
I mean, that's why you put your kids in a school system if you can afford it that you like. And if you can't afford it and you can manage to you raise your kids at home and teach them school at home, you do. If you can take them out of certain instances and scenarios, like basketball culture could be just for example, could be really disgusting, bad culture. So maybe remove them from a certain team or remove them. I mean, where I live, we have a variety of sport opportunities, a variety of school opportunities. Thank God. So I can simply remove my kid from a situation and I don't need to let anyone inside my house. And my kids do not do sleepovers. They will not do sleepovers with other people's houses. And I will go through their phones when they have phones, and they will only be hanging out with people that I approve of. That's just how it's going to run in my house. And that's the way my kids are going to be structured, because I recognize that these are God's children and not my own. And I need to do them and God service by making sure that they have boundaries, healthy boundaries. And the moment that I see a situation that they don't need to be in, they will be removed.
Well, we need more people out there just like you who are parenting in that way, because it would make just the common spaces so much better. The public sphere, the airplane, the restaurant, the pool, all places that would be better if more people parented like you. So I want to thank you on behalf of all of us childless folks. Thank you for raising children who are well-mannered, because it makes it more enticing for people to have children when they see children who turn out well. So thank you for that. Thank you for being with me today. Have a fantastic weekend, and I'll have you back soon.
You as well. Thanks, Tomi.
Thank you. That does it for this episode of Tomi Lahren is Fearless. I will see you right back here tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern for a very special, let me repeat, very special episode on the fight for justice for Peanut the Squirrel and Fred the Raccoon. Oh, yes. We're talking to Mark Longo, the owner of Peanut the Squirrel and Fred the Raccoon, telling all about what happened, the tyranny that this family had to endure, and the poor squirrel and the poor raccoon that were lost because of it. If you're passionate about this, as I'm passionate about this, please make sure you're watching tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. Also, please do like and subscribe to the YouTube channel at Tomi Lahren is Fearless. From rainy Nashville, Tennessee, God bless and take care. Hey, thanks for watching. If you want more of my hottest takes, must-see conversations, and of course, my final thoughts, click here and make sure you subscribe here so you never miss a beat. I'll be here every weekday, and I hope you'll join me.